Hi everyone, I'm Arjun Gupta, the founder and creator of Courseplay. And today we have Ms. Ashwati Baranwal with us. She's the founder of We Acapellas and has 14 years of experience in HR, organizational development, coaching, and training. She started off as my client. Now she's a friend. Welcome, Ms. Baranwal. It's great to have you on today.
Thank you so much, Arjun. My pleasure.
So you talked about, performance management, especially in the modern day context. It's still a very people-centric process, but you also talked about how this needs to be automated.
Yeah.
So how, with this context, how can companies ensure fairness, transparency, and privacy when they're tracking performance?
Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, performance management is a very, very complex subject, and everybody in the industry, every organization is always on an iterative mode, experimentative mode. And I think that's the best part, that organizations and all of us have become quite experimentative. And even research experts in the industry, even organizations who have been pioneers in performance management, says or knows that clarity on how performance will be measured, and that it is the core value to build an optimal performance management system. Fairness, transparency, privacy then becomes the backbone of it. So, to sum up, clarity is very important. And I've tried to break it down into the magic of 5 C's. I call it magic of 5 C's, which is clarity on how to do the 3 C's consistently. So the first C is clarity. The 3 C's I'll talk about. And the 5th C is consistently. So the first is continuous feedback. Of course, we've already talked in detail. Inputs from multiple sources is important. Hence, continuous feedback from different stakeholders matters, thereby making performance management data richer. It's important to get all the feedback, all the data available. So multiple inputs and continuous feedback eliminates any form of psychological bias. And we all know that. There has been a lot of research which has talked about more the data, more richer the data is, the more multiple sources, points we have, the chances of consistency, the chances of validity, reliability of the data is much more better.
So you're saying not just the manager, but then multiple sources of
multiple sources
data.
Absolutely. Multiple data definitely is going to add value, because that is something which is going to reduce psychological bias. And when I say not just manager, even managers, multiple data points is important. It's a passe where we used to have once in a year conversation with the manager, where most of the things were forgotten and the recency effect was so prevalent that most of the cases employees were never happy with the performance management. So if we reduce the psychological bias, we improve the process and we bring the process and we make the process more fair, relevant, and transparent. So continuous feedback is going to get us more multiple sources, data, feedback, and it is going to make data richer. The second C for me is the curriculum or the course structure you are going to create for training managers and employees. And we have already spoken in a previous conversation and question which you had, that regular trainings for managers and employees on how to give and receive feedback becomes very, very critical. So HRs and leaders have to create a value proposition which allows managers and employees to learn quickly, apply the learning, clarify the doubts we spoke about. It's important for them to also clarify the doubts. Most of the times they start with the process. Managers after training program use the tools which were learnt during the workshop. If in case it doesn't work out as per them, they leave it. There should be somebody to help them clarify their doubts. And of course, refresher. Take refresher whenever they require. So hence curriculum, course becomes a very important aspect as one of the 3 C's which I talked about. The last is commitment by leaders and HR towards sustaining this. And if required, be agile enough to make the changes, because there would be changes. I mean, Arjun, we all know that it is an iterative process. There would be a lot of desired changes which any organization would want. So it's better to accept it, better to be ready, better to be agile. So sustaining it becomes very, very important. So the leaders and the HRs need to be always in a continuous improvement mode, and which means they have to be persistent. There's no other way. I mean, they have to do regular conversations around performance management. There are a lot of communication forums which leaders have, for example, town halls, maybe monthly meetings with top management. They have a lot of conversations around business updates. Can they bake in these conversations around performance management, around continuous feedback, around trainings, around transparency, around fairness? This is going to build that culture. If everybody starts talking in every forum or every communication platform which gets noticed. Here we are talking about habits. Here we are talking about culture. Transparency, fairness, privacy is not just like a one-day act or just like a one-day program. We are talking about habits and cultures which do not change by just throwing an idea, right, Arjun? I mean, it is about how habits and culture are changing slowly. Are we giving it time to change? And how persistent are we in acknowledging that it is going to take time? It's okay, we need to be patient, we need to be committed, we need to be persistent. So hence, these 5 C's, the magic of 5 C's would definitely bring about transparency, fairness, and will bring a system which is more holistic and welcoming in the eyes of employees and everybody who's working in an organization.